Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. The news return shortly. The Senate has Now the news in full. The Senate has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026 through third reading but rejected proposals to make electronic transmission of results mandatory. Instead, lawmakers retain the existing provision allowing INEC to transmit results in a manner prescribed by the Commission, with Senate President Godswill Akpabio insisting electronic transmission already exists in the law. The chamber also amended timeline for notice of election and candidate submissions, adjusted penalties for permanent voters card trading, and set up a conference committee to harmonize the bill. The Senate Minority Caucus has dismissed report that the National Assembly has scrapped electronic transmission of election results from the ongoing Electoral Act amendment process. The caucus says the provision was not only retained, but clarified to remove ambiguity in existing laws. The National Assembly correspondent, Aniete Patrick, has more.
The Minority Caucus of the Senate has insisted that electronic transmission of election results remains firmly part of the Electoral Amendments Bill currently before the National Assembly. Addressing journalists at the National Assembly, Senate Minority Leader Senator Eyinaya Abaribe dismissed claims suggesting that lawmakers voted against electronic transmission of results. He explained that the Senate merely refined the language of the provision, replacing what he described as the vague term transfer used in the 2022 Electoral Act with a clearer and more explicit reference to electronic transmission.
Today, the Senate did not, I repeat, did not pass transfer of results, which was in the 2022 Act, is transmission of results. Is transmission of results.
Senator Abaribe further disclosed that an ad hoc committee was constituted to review the electoral reform report before lawmakers resolved contentious issues during a closed executive session. He also clarified that the harmonization between the Senate and the House of Representatives versions of the bill is yet to be completed, noting that the Senate must first formally adopt its votes and proceedings before the conference committee can fully commence work.
Our session, plenary session yesterday, we adjourned, but did not come back to pass the votes and proceedings. And that is our rule, and you all who are here, you know it. The Harmonization Committee cannot meet because the document that we use to go to the harmonization is the document passed by us and ratified by the votes and proceedings. So there's still one more step left by the Senate to take.
The Senate had earlier set up a conference committee to reconcile differences between its version of the Electoral Amendments Bill and that passed by the House of Representatives. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick, Reporting for Global TV News.
As preparations gather momentum for the 2027 general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, has expanded Nigeria's political space with the registration of 2 new political parties. It, however, expresses concern over a deepening leadership crisis within several existing parties. Our correspondent, Samuel Odi, reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has approved the registration of 2 new political parties, the Democratic Leadership Alliance and Nigerian Democratic Congress, ahead of the 2027 general election. The announcement was made in Abuja during INEC's first consultative meeting with political parties for the year, increasing the number of registered political parties in Nigeria to 21. INEC Chairman Professor Amopitan San explained that while the DLA met all constitutional and regulatory requirements, the NDC was registered in compliance with a ruling of the Federal High Court.
After due consideration, only the Democratic Leadership Alliance was found to have complied fully with the requirement of the law.
The chairman noted that many of the disputes end up in court, diverting INEC from its core responsibility of voters' education and election management. The INEC chairman also raised concerns over declining voters' turnout, revealing that participation in the presidential elections has dropped sharply over the years from over 53% in 2011 to just 26.7% in 2023 general election. He stressed that technology alone cannot fix voters' apathy, urging political stakeholders to rebuild public trust in democratic process.
A credible register of voters remains the bedrock of free, fair, and transparent elections. No electoral process can command public confidence without trust in the integrity of its voters' register.
Responding, the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Dr. Yusuf Danlata, urged INEC to remain neutral and renewed calls for wider-ranging electoral reforms. He also advocated mandatory real-time transmission of results and conduct of election on the same day to reduce cost and voters' fatigue.
INEC has submitted it for real-time transmission of electoral results. Citizens expect an improved electoral framework that will restore trust and confidence in the democratic system, one in which every vote counts and the people's mandate is respected.
Meanwhile, INEC assured Nigerians of its readiness for upcoming elections, including the FCTA Area Council elections on February the 21st, 2026, as well as the Ekiti and Osun State governorship elections scheduled for June and August 2026, respectively. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, has recognized the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike-backed National Caretaker Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by Abdurrahman Mohammed. The duo of Mohammed and the acting National Secretary, Samuel Anyangu, are part of the party leaders attending the first quarterly meeting between the Commission and political party leaders. The meeting was meant for only national chairmen and national secretaries of all registered parties recognized by the Commission. The Anambra State House of Assembly has passed a bill seeking to establish the Anambra State Public Complaints, Financial Crimes and Anti-Corruption Commission into law. The passage followed a resolution adopted during plenary after lawmakers considered amendments made at the committee of the whole stage. The minority leader of the House, Ikenna Olujeme, moved the motion for the third reading of the bill, which was seconded by the deputy minority leader, Nobel Igwe. Presiding over the plenary, the Speaker of the House, Somtochukwu Udeze, commended the Joint Committee for its diligence in the fine-tuning of the bill before its passage. The Nigeria and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have moved to deepen their diplomatic ties and overhaul pilgrimage administration, following a high-level meeting between Nigeria Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuga and the Saudi Minister of Hajj and Umrah. Global Television Foreign Affairs correspondent brings us the report. During the engagement in Abuja, Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister emphasized the visit reflects the enduring bonds of friendship and brotherhood between the two nations, rooted in shared faith and mutual respect, while conveying President Bola Tinubu's message to King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The minister reaffirms Nigeria's intention to strengthen bilateral cooperation with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He also appreciated the Saudi government for its recent infrastructure investment and visionary reforms designed to enhance the safety and experience of global pilgrims.
Nigeria and Saudi Arabia share a relationship deeply rooted in creed, mutual respect, and strong people-to-people ties. Over the decades, this relationship has continued to flourish across political, economic, cultural, and spiritual dimensions. Cooperation in the administration of Hajj and Umrah remains one of the most significant pillars of this partnership, reflecting our collective responsibility to safeguard the welfare, dignity, and spiritual fulfillment of pilgrims.
Yusuf Tuga, Foreign Affairs Minister. The Minister of Hajj and Umrah of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Tafiq Al-Rabia, reaffirmed the kingdom's commitment to institutional cooperation with Nigeria. This meeting also find ways to address consular challenges to combat. The meeting also find ways to address consular challenges to combat recurring issues like Umrah visas and overstay by Nigerian pilgrims, among others.
We also look forward to the continued joint coordination in preparation for the Hajj season of 1447 Hijri, in a manner that enhances operational readiness, contributes to the smooth flow of procedures, and ensures the safety of pilgrims and the quality of services provided to them.
Minister of Hajj. Both parties conveyed strong optimism that the discussion would lead to tangible results and further strengthen the already strong ties between Nigeria and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has assured the judiciary of the federal government's resolve to strengthen the three arms of government as he inspected ongoing construction of court buildings and residential quarters for judges in Abuja. Kabir Hassan reports.
The inspection tour took the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to several judicial infrastructure projects across Abuja. This includes the construction of official residence for the President of Court of Appeal, Chief Judges, Judges of the National Industrial Court, the Federal High Court, and the FCT High Court. The Minister also inspected the ongoing construction of the Court of Appeal Abuja Division, as well as Judges' residential quarters, designed to provide a secure and dignified living environment for members of the bench. He described the project as part of the initiative to support the judiciary, noting that adequate infrastructure is critical to strengthen the independence and efficiency of the court.
One of the directives of such government to the FCT and FCDA is to see how we can reduce the accommodation burden as it affects the judiciary. Also talk about the welfare and the environment where the state to do their work is very key. Luckily for us, we were just there this morning and saw that the work is almost 85–90% ready. We believe by the grace of God, with the speed they are going, we believe by June, July, they will have handed over these projects for Mr. President to hand over to the judiciary.
According to the minister, the projects are being executed in line with Abuja Master Plan and are expected to be completed by June or July 2026. He stressed that the initiative aligns with President Bola Tinubu's agenda of reforming institutions and improving working conditions for critical arms of government, including the judiciary. providing befitting court complexes and residential accommodation for judges, according to the minister, will enhance service delivery, improve morale, and reinforce public confidence in justice system. The project formed part of broader effort by the Federal Capital Territory Administration to modernize public infrastructure and strengthen government institutions within the nation's capital. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
The federal government says it is strengthening the implementation of the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket, that is NAGS-AP, as part of urgent measures to achieve food security and sustainability across the country. This renewed push is being driven through a nationwide partnership with the Bank of Agriculture, covering all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Aniete Patrick reports.
At a two-day stakeholders review and preparatory workshop in Nasarawa State, the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Abdullahi, said the Tinubu administration has declared an emergency on food and nutrition security to boost production, improve affordability, and stabilize prices. He explained that the NAGS-AP program focuses on 6 staple crops: rice, wheat, maize, sorghum, soybean, and cassava, designed to bridge Nigeria's food supply gap. According to the minister, the scheme has recorded over 2.5 million metric tons of food produce across 4 farming seasons.
We have been able to achieve the following: a total of 2,536,184 metric tons of various produce were produced across these 4 seasons, with an estimated value of 2,312,746,400,000.
The workshop, organized by the NAGS-AP Project Secretariat in collaboration with the Bank of Agriculture, is reviewing past implementation challenges while finalizing a modified framework anchored on transparency, technology, and stakeholder collaboration. The National Project Coordinator of NAGS-AP, Ishaku Buba, says plans are also underway to roll out NAGS 2.0 and a GCA supported program.
The overall implementation of the previous programs was largely satisfactory and demonstrated the program's continued relevance in supporting domestic production. However, operational and governance challenges.
The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Marcus Ogumbi, represented by the Director of Planning and Policy Coordination, Ibrahim Tanimo, noted that the new ICT-driven platform will link farmers, financial institutions, extension officers, and input providers for better coordination and accountability.
Aside supporting farmers with critical farm inputs for the production of priority crops, we also institutionalize support for better performances and sustainability, particularly in areas of stable food production.
With expanded coverage, improved financing, and institutional support, the federal government says the strengthened NAGS-AP framework will remain a key driver of sustainable food production and economic sustainability in Nigeria. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Senior pastor of Dunamis International Gospel Center, Dr. Pastor Paul Enenche, has called on leaders at all levels of governance to show greater responsibility, compassion, and commitment to the welfare and safety of Nigerians, warning that the nation is at a critical crossroads. Dr. Enenche made the call on arrival in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, where he is leading a 2-day healing and deliverance crusade with the theme, Mercy of God. Felicity Ndere has details.
Addressing journalists, the cleric expressed deep concern over the rising wave of insecurity and mounting socio-economic challenges across the country, describing the situation as grave and demanding urgent action. He noted that Nigeria is facing a defining moment, stressing that beyond policy responses, moral leadership and compassion for human lives must be restored at the highest level of authority. Dr. Eneche emphasized that without responsible leadership and sincere concern for the people, the nation risks further instability, adding that divine mercy remains critical to averting deeper crises.
And we do our best to do the work of our hands. We look up to God and trust Him for His intervention. And let the leadership of our nation and the leadership of our at all levels take responsibility and have a heart for human beings.
He urged Nigerians to turn to prayers and seek God's intervention, encouraging citizens not to lose hope, but to look beyond human solution and place their trust in God.
Watch the live broadcast of AM News on Global Television. The AM News returns after the weather report as we bring you business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the federal government has discontinued the use of corporate tax credit to fund road construction, insisting that such projects must go through the proper appropriation process. The closure was made by Zek Adedeji, Executive Chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Servicing, during a joint sitting of the editorial board. The decision signals a shift from the previous road infrastructure development and refurbishment investment tax credit scheme, which allowed major firms to fund federal road projects using tax credits. The federal government has urged international oil companies operating in Nigeria to take concrete steps to ramp up crude oil production, following the country's ambitious target of reaching 2.5 billion barrels per day by 2027. Speaking at the close of a panel session at the ongoing 2026 Nigerian International Energy Summit, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Henneken Lokpobiri, said the government had created an enabling environment for oil companies to operate effectively. Lokpobiri stressed that the performance of the petroleum industry is fundamentally tied to the success of upstream operators, noting that the Nigerian economy remains largely dependent on foreign exchange earnings from the sector. The Nigerian recorded a modest appreciation at the official foreign exchange market in midweek trading, extending a gradual recovery trend amid improving sentiment around Nigeria's macroeconomic outlook. This is according to the official market data from the Central Bank of Nigeria's CBN website. The strengthening reflects increased stability in official market pricing, supported by sustained foreign reserve levels, policy tightening, and renewed investors' confidence driven by recent credit rating actions. And now on the foreign scene, Ghana and Zambia have agreed to abolish visa requirements for each other's citizens, marking a major step towards closer regional integration and easier cross-border movement. The deal was confirmed by Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Ablakwa during President John Dramani Mahama's official visit to Zambia. The three-day trip is focused on expanding diplomatic engagement, strengthening economic partnership, and fostering stronger ties between the populations of both countries. The United States and Iran have agreed to hold talks on Oman on Friday despite sharp disagreement over the scope of negotiation. Washington insists discussions must include Iran's missile program and regional activities, while Tehran says talks should also focus solely on nuclear issues. The talks come amid heightening regional tensions and warning from U.S. President Donald Trump that military action remains an option. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he'd regretted naming Peter Mandelson as ambassador to the United States following fresh allegations about the disgraced envoy's close ties to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The UK leader is set to release documents linked to the appointment of the former Per Mandelson, 72, one of the numerous prominent figures embarrassed by revelation of ties to the late US financier. Zaraouna Nasir brings us that report.
Starmer has accused the former minister and EU Trade Commissioner of failing time and time again to reveal the full extent of his relationship with Epstein during betting for the Washington role last year. Starmer's government agreed to submit to the Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee all documents in connection to the appointment, following growing anger from the opposition and some members of Starmer's own Labour Party.
But I also want to say this. In this country, we will not look away. We will not shrug our shoulders. And we will not allow the powerful to treat justice as optional. We will pursue the truth. We will uphold the integrity of public life. And we will do everything within our power and in the interests of justice to ensure accountability is delivered.
The Prime Minister's judgment is under scrutiny following new allegations that Mandelson had passed confidential and potentially market-sensitive information to Epstein nearly 2 decades ago. UK police have announced they are probing the claims, which emerged from email exchanges between Mandelson and Epstein that revealed their warm relations and financial dealings, as well as private photos. Zahra.
Welcome back from that foreign story. Now let's take you through the world of sport. A total of 32 Nigerian athletes, 16 females and 16 males, would commence a 6-week camping exercise in Asaba Delta State as preparation intensifies for the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. The athletes drawn from track and field events, including sprint, relays, jumps and throw, arrived at the camp on Saturday for the first phase of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria's build-up program. The camping exercise is being handled by a 6-man technical crew led by Athletes Federation of Nigeria head coach Solomon Aliyu, who will oversee training sessions and performance evaluation throughout the period. And that's it on the AM News. But before we go, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for watching.